All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Deep Dive Discography. It is me. It is Marcus. I'm coming at you with a tour review. I was fortunate enough to go down to see this tour over here, down in Detroit, Michigan. The show in question, we have Enterprise Earth headlining Within Destruction, co-headlining with opening support from the Great American Ghost and Sentinels. So it is a really cool stacked lineup of deathcore and metalcore kind of bands. The local openers were called Yokai and Gravebloom, but unfortunately I did not make it in time. I was coming from Canada after all, so you know how it is sometimes. So Sentinels opened up this show, or rather, as far as the touring package goes, they opened up that. And they actually played without a vocalist, which I had no idea about this, that their vocalist wasn't going to be making. I'm not sure if it's a whole tour thing or what. I actually didn't really look into it. So they played an instrumental set list, and it was actually pretty cool. For those who don't know, Sentinels is kind of like a genty metalcore kind of band, a little bit more on the Wheedly D proggy side. Like, you know, they have samples playing live and like, you know, pretty mathy at times, pretty Wheedly D at times. And it was pretty cool, albeit I would have really enjoyed to actually hear the vocals on top, because I think the vocals definitely make those tracks sing a bit more. Instrumentally, they were definitely cool, but without the vocal patterns, I kind of didn't really know what song was which. I did look at the set list ahead of time, but even, you know, again, without hearing the vocals, I didn't really know where I was in this set. But it was really cool to see them play, and I'm really happy they were able to make it out and keep on doing their thing in spite of not having a vocalist for the show. And then we have the Great American Ghost, or Great American Ghost rather. I really like this band. I actually only really got into them when Torture World came out, which is their latest EP. It's awesome. I think this band is really on to something cool. It's just like straight up like hardcore, metalcore kind of hybrid kind of stuff. So if you're into that, this is definitely a good jam to have. It's really heavy. It's really aggressive. The set list they played was actually a lot of songs from the new EP, and it was exactly what you think it is live. They are a 4-piece band. They do not have a second guitar player, but I thought the space was filled up really nicely. They performed super tightly, and their frontman really charismatic. So I was really jazzed to see them play, and it was a great set list. Another one that I was really excited to see actually was this band over here, Within Destruction. Admittedly, so last year I went through a huge phase where I was like really into this band, particularly when the Yokai album was like new, or rather when I discovered it and it was new to me. They kind of call themselves animetal, which I think is kind of cheeky. They essentially are kind of like deathcore, metalcore, very inspired by the imagery of anime, which is kind of cool. Yeah, their set list live was fucking awesome. I was really stoked to see them play. Their frontman, also very charismatic, definitely carried all of those songs forward. Their performances was super tight. And what I really like about them is their sound has changed from album to album. They only played, I think it was like only 2 songs off of their first full length called Death Wish, which what got them popular. And Death Wish is kind of like more of that straight up slam influenced deathcore, so a lot more on the brutal kind of side. And it's kind of cool to hear those tracks actually like it's really cool to hear those tracks like juxtaposed next to the track listing from like Yokai and some of the new singles that are going to be featured from their upcoming album. I thought the set list was super cool, super varied. They picked a lot of the bangers. The performance was super tight. I was really jazzed about them. They had me like hooked the entire time. You know, admittedly still I got a bit of a hot take. Not so crazy about Death Wish. I know a lot of the fans seem to really dig on that one. That one's not for me as much, but to hear those tracks live really sold me on them. So I might have to go back to that album. Last but surely not least, Enterprise Earth, the headliner. And I actually only got into this band when The Chosen came out, and The Chosen was a really excellent album from last year, and they pretty much played the first half of it. Plus, they also played a song off of one of their previous albums. I believe it was Failsafe Fallacy, and then they played the new single they have from their upcoming release. And like, yeah, man, Enterprise Earth is pretty badass. I guess you would call them just like straight up deathcore. Maybe like tinges of progressive metal and like kind of like techiness in there. Really, really shreddy stuff. Their guitar player shreds super hard. Most notably about this particular lineup they have, it's their newest vocalist. The vocalist on the previous effort, Dan Watson, he left shortly after the release of this, so I'm sure many people were really excited to see him perform, but alas, we have this new fella, and it was just fucking awesome. I was like really engulfed the entire time they were playing. They played immaculately. It was very, very tight, and easily the best band on the bill, which I hate to say because I really was in it within Destruction, but like Enterprise Earth, man, that's one talented band, and I'm kind of hoping Enterprise Earth and Within Destruction grow beyond this size. They are very popular within the deathcore genre, but I think they kind of have the potential to kind of appeal to a larger audience, and I think particularly Enterprise Earth has the possibility of kind of doing well amongst the metal crowd and the deathcore crowd. So hopefully we hear some new from them in the near future. I know Within Destruction has a new album coming out. I believe it's in September. I forget when they said it was coming out. So I'm going to be keeping my eye out on those releases. So if you have a chance to, I highly recommend you guys check out the Chosen 2022 tour. All the bands are great. I think you'll like it too. Thanks, guys.